a gold streak of brilliance. Why should we see the grayness of skies, leaving our haven for a few extra shillings? The old brother's grim comes to mind, where the fisherman follows his wife. From a backseat position, like watching a top spin out of control. A criminal transported, a alien deported. It's just how Alice felt, falling down her rabbit hole. Or the Billy Goat grasp when it came across the troll. And I'm green, not with the envy nor newness of a life. So severely spooked, can I loosen a rope that's strangling you? When I count to 3, make a run for those trees. The lesson in progression's cut off at its knees. Their black has turned green. Their black has turned green. They're green, not with envy, no newness of a life. No, they're green with the poison from having to eat their own servings. They're green from sleeping in their spine. They're so green, it's their turn. They are green with the fate they deserve. Now everyone's green. Everyone's green. Everyone's green. Everyone's green. Such a cold streak of brilliance. Such a gold streak.
Good evening, my crime family. How'd you like that? That's the song that I used for my intro or parts of it. Um, and that's from a very good friend, Karen Stever. And you can get merchandise and her albums and whatever at karenstever.com. She is a total different musician than the musicians that are out there. And she's actually helped some pretty famous people with their voices and vocal training. And when she writes music, it's like a freaking orchestra, man. it's, I mean, it's like it's totally unbelievable. Not easy stuff to play. It's very complex music, and anyway, I love her dearly, and I thank her so much for allowing me to use her music and videos to come up with my intros. She's awesome. So if you get time to check her out sometime, like I said, she's got merchandise and albums. Anyway, I thought that would be kind of cool to show you the whole song with her singing for a change. You know what I mean? And the lyrics and everything. Green is the name of the song. Um, Green with envy. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a good song. Anyway, how's everybody doing out there tonight? I was on Dago's earlier and kind of got me in the mood, and then I checked my emails, and right off the bat I find something sent to me, and it's pretty interesting to me, I guess. But anyway, I want to say my highs. Hello there, George Rain and Love Tina. Hello, my girl Eve Lucky. Hello. Good to see you. Cindy, good to see you. Hot Mess, good to see you. NFT, good to see you. Sipping on, good to see you. Missy Q, good to see you. Natural Healing, my girl, good to see you. Dakota, good to see you. And Dakota, was it you that asked about Karen's channel? Yeah, that's what is it? I'll put the link up there um, before the show is over here. It's Relentless for Answers. Just look up Relentless for Answers, and it should. And she had a problem there for a little while linking that up, and she's getting there with her StreamYard. She does have some internet issues that she's taking care of. But yeah, she's got a couple of videos up there that are pretty good. It's just you have to have a little bit of patience. But yeah, it's Relentless for Answers. Hello, Sooner Girl, good to see you. Randy Fur, my brother, good to see you. Sherlock, good to see you. Open Mind, good to see you. Sweet and Salty, good to see you. Debbie Gazzardo, good to see you. And down the rabbit hole to hell, good to see you. Jackie, good to see you. Leslie, good to see you. And it keeps going. There's a few in here anyway. Yeah. Hello to everybody. Anyway, so like I said, I ran across this email, and she sent me the link. Best of me, hello, girl, my girl, good to see you. Makeup Queen, good to see you. The Borg, good to see you. Deborah Ackland, good to see you. Wayne B, good to see you. Lisa Carroll, good to see you. And Nanya, good to see you. And okay, so more fights with the police called. Like 100 people there. 100 people. 100 people. Yeah, but this time it's on record. So let's give a listen to this. It is in this channel I never heard of before, and I got it in an email, and it's called True Crime Questions with Me. Now they do use one of those AI voices or something. Yeah, I don't really like those that well. Uh, but there you go. Thank you, best of me, my girl. Um, she's on top of it. Aren't my mods something? All of them. Every single one of my mods are just crazy good. Awesome. Awesome mods and awesome people. I love them. So let's take a peek at this.
Welcome to True Crime Questions with me. Like, share, and subscribe. Let's take a look at the Beta Theta Pi fraternity, more specifically the chapter at the University of Idaho. They claim to develop men of principle. This is all alleged and speculation. So we've all heard, history repeats itself. Here's more of just that. Here we go again. This is the Beta Theta Pi fraternity house built in the mid-1920s. The University of Idaho Beta Theta Pi house sits on the northwest corner of Idaho and Elm Streets in Moscow, Idaho. Why discuss Beta Theta Pi? The why matters. Beta Theta Pi frat brothers were involved in some questionable activity on February 16, 2024. Another football game. Another frat fight. History repeats itself. The Beta Theta Pi fraternity brothers were involved in a very large fight on the 600 block of Taylor Avenue in Moscow, Idaho around 10:45 p.m. Allegedly. On the 16th of February 2024, Moscow PD responded to a large altercation on the 600 block of Taylor Avenue at approximately 11 o'clock p.m. 24M01058. Citizen dispute. 600 Taylor Avenue, Moscow, Idaho, 83843. Time reported 22:42. Multiple people trying to fight. Officers responded to a large fight. A report was actually taken. Moscow police responded near campus just before 11 p.m. because of a large fight with multiple people, according to a dispatch report. Moscow Police Captain Tyson Barrett said witnesses reported many of the people involved were football players. Is there any record of football players or others being arrested for this incident? The fight took place at a party with nearly 100 people attending, Barrett said. 2 to 3 students were treated by EMTs at the scene. The department is currently questioning people who are a part of the athletic program and reviewing video footage of the night, Barrett said. No one had been arrested or charged as of Friday. Director of Athletics Terry Golick said she and the school's football coach, Jason Eck, are aware of the incident from Saturday that involved members of the football team and that they are currently prioritizing the health, safety and well-being of their athletes. We are working together to bring resolution to this situation, Golick said. None of the players have been suspended. And Golick does not know how many players were involved, she said. Dean of Students Blaine Eccles wrote to one of the injured students in an email Monday that the school has opened an investigation into the fight. In the email, he said the incident was a tumultuous event involving a lot of people, and that the student was on the receiving end of some physical altercations. Will the University of Idaho take any measures with the fraternity to prevent a future incident or something more severe? Beta Theta Pi President Michael Ferris said their chapter is cooperating with police and the university at this time. Does this name sound familiar? They are looking to get this issue properly and promptly handled so that our fraternity and the Greek community do not have to continue to worry about the football players acting in this criminal manner, Ferris said via email. Ferris declined to go into detail about the fight due to the ongoing investigation. How many times can the truth be hidden in cases like this in the Idaho 4 case? The truth cannot be hidden forever. What would justice look like in this case? Should the University of Idaho suspend the football players from future game time? What about any other students involved? What happens to them? Should there be academic consequences imposed on the students? Is anything ever going to be done about the reckless behavior of the U of I fraternities? Should there be arrests made in this case? How severe are the victims' injuries? Without the truth, there is no trust. Sometimes you just can't have one without the other. Will this be the next big issue swept under the rug? Time to hear from you. Leave a comment below, like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification button. Thanks for dropping by.
So, yeah, another fight getting swept under the rug. I mean, I never heard anything about this, you know. And here, that was on the 16th. Did anybody hear about this fight? I'd like to know. Does anybody out there? Did anybody hear about this fight right here on the 16th? Yeah, I never heard anything. You know, and when there's a fight, there's punches thrown, that kind of stuff. That's assault. People should have been arrested. Why is it they're always protecting people? Protecting football players, protecting frats. What is it with this fucking place, man? You know what I mean? Most other places, if there's a fight and the police are called and there's been punches thrown and shit, man, someone's going to fucking jail. That's the way it is where I grew up. I mean, after a certain time, you know, in the 60s when I was real young, it wasn't so much like that. But when you start talking like the 90s and the 2000s, I mean, there was assault came out more often because you're not supposed to punch somebody. And that's called assault. And they should have been arrested for it. And there over 100 people there. And yet people question why I think there's fight clubs going on. And, oh, there couldn't have been 100 people over at Linda Lane. Fuck, there could have been 200 fucking people over there. With all those frat houses there? That just gets me when people tell me that. Oh, that couldn't have, yeah, there'd be too many people. Yeah, I know. There was. Many, many people over there. And what? Why are they hiding this one? Why are they hiding this one? Think about that. Is it because they don't want people to know that that's what was going on November 12th and 13th of 2022? has to make you think a little bit, you know? Someone should have got arrested. And I'd like to know more about that fight. But again, it's shushed up by everybody. Everybody. Shh, shh. That's Idaho right there. People killed. Shh. Well, I'm getting real tired of shh. Crazy. That's all I can say. It's crazy. All right. Well, I'm going to look for something else. Take just a short break here. I'll put on some elevator music, as I call it, for a little intermission here, if you don't mind. While I look for something. This is kind of a spur of the moment jump online thing, because of that whole fight thing just kind of got to me. It really did. So yeah, let me put on something here. Some elevator music or something. Yeah, let me find something different. Okay, let me look for something. I'll be right back here. Okay, I'm going to run this real quick and see what you think of this. This is just a couple of minutes. And yeah, this is more disturbing stuff here from a couple of years ago. 2 years ago.
Tonight's developing story: one man is dead and a WSU football player is in serious condition tonight after an overnight shooting on Pullman's College Hill. Pullman police have identified the two victims as Lieben Barr and Brandon Gray. Amanda Rowley shares what we know so far.
Witnesses who were at the party near last night's shooting told me they were terrified and ran in all different directions after hearing the gunshots. Now, this all happened here on College Hill. And to give you an idea of where we're at, we're on the north side of Stadium Way, about less than half a mile northwest of Beasley Coliseum. And behind me is the Trinity Lutheran Church.
I was like right down that road, like just right there.
Akasha Gottschalk was in this College Hill neighborhood with a few friends last night when she heard several gunshots.
There was fighting up the street is what we saw, and I didn't really hear much of it, but then I just heard what really sounded like a lot of gunshots, and then everyone who was in this area just kind of ran.
Pullman police were called to the area for reports of a loud party with possibly 200 people. When they arrived, that's when they too heard the gunshots. They say 2 people were shot, and police have identified them as Lieben Barr, who died at the hospital, and Brandon Gray is in serious but stable condition.
Thoughts and prayers are with him.
WSU head football coach Nick Rolovich confirmed in a press conference this afternoon Gray is one of his players. He is a redshirt sophomore wide receiver.
So much respect for this team for how they played. I know we didn't win. I know we weren't great, but for them to go out and play as hard as they did with the news they got this morning about their teammate, I think it's a tribute to their character. And all we can do right now is pray for his family.
The news came as a shock to the team. They went into today's away game with heavy hearts.
When you see something in the news like that, you never expect it to be someone you know. It's shocking and it's humbling to know that not every day is guaranteed.
This morning, Pullman police arrested 23-year-old George Melvin Harris III for his involvement in the shooting. He is charged with second-degree assault. It's not clear what prompted the sheriff if anyone else was involved. Washington State Patrol is on scene investigating and collecting evidence.
Understandably, neighbors in the area and students are still a bit shaken up by what happened here last night. Now, this is an ongoing investigation, and we will share more details as this story develops. Reporting in Pullman, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
Yeah, what do you think? What do you got? I mean, for such a small place, they say it's small. To me, I guess it's not that small. I know everybody thinks it's a small town, but it's not that small. I mean, I come from a town about, when I was growing up, it was about 1,300. And it's about half that size now. It's like 700 and some people. That's small to me. But there's a lot of police here because of, a lot of crime happens here. But here you got a shooting and someone, dies, and I don't really remember hearing much about this either. Anybody else? This happened right in Washington State University here. What the hell? Why haven't we heard about this? That was 2 years ago. Yeah, it's just like one thing after another over there, and it makes me wonder who they're all allowing into University of Idaho. What is their what's the word I'm looking for here, folks? What is their what does it take to get into that college? Apparently they're letting some pretty rough people in there that have some problems or something. I mean, the place is a total mess. It's a total fucking mess, in my opinion. 100 and some people at a fight, and yet people try to tell me, oh, there couldn't have been that many people over at Linda Lane. Oh, fuck yeah, there was. Oh, yes, there was. Just crazy. Let me look again here a little bit. I'm not going to go too much long here because Pia's going live here pretty quick, it looks like. So I don't want to go too long into this here. I did want to watch some of this. Let's watch this. Chaos Sector's got a new one out here, and let's take a peek at the Chaos Sector here.
Welcome to the Chaos Sector. A question to a few individuals: when exactly did the Linda Lane surveillance get released to the public? Who released it, and who was the first person on YouTube to obtain it? Now, one of these individuals who had that surveillance footage is Jeff H. We asked him where did he obtain that surveillance from, and we're awaiting a response to that post. We recall Jeff H having that surveillance. T-Rev 757 also had it. Truth and Transparency, Gray Hughes, a select few had the surveillance. But who was the initial person who first obtained it? Can anyone give us that source? The reason this is important is because it was not the landlord who released that to the public. So if it wasn't the landlord, then someone else released it who had access to that surveillance. Who leaked the neighbor's security camera footage? It wasn't law enforcement. Was it one of the housemates? If so, who did they give it to on social media, which led to it being uploaded on YouTube? When things get so-called leaked out, we have to track who is the source of that leak. So when things come full circle, that trail is covered. But if this person is anonymous, as the TikToker stated, that's a problem. As we mentioned, this surveillance was obtained by law enforcement right after the murders. So this meant that the landlord had immediately reviewed the surveillance to find out if there may be something there. There's two ways to look at that. Either they, was trying to help by providing authorities surveillance, which is in the area where the murders occurred, or the landlord was notified by tenants about that night. Nevertheless, someone needs to give a date and a source of who obtained all of this footage. We know it wasn't from law enforcement, and it wasn't released until approximately June of 2023. This would be like 7 months from when Kohberger had been arrested. The timing in which it was leaked does not align with the urgency of the time frame a killer was on the loose. Now, some may claim that a gag order was in place, so the surveillance couldn't be released during the investigation. Well, if that's the case, after an arrest was made, why wasn't any of the neighbors' security footage released after Kohberger's arrest? If the Linda Lane surveillance was so-called cleared to be released after the arrest was made, where is the security camera footage from the neighbor? See, this is why we come to the conclusion the Linda Lane surveillance was used to display a white Hyundai Elantra. Because it's in the distance, the view is obstructed, and you can edit that vehicle into the surveillance frame by frame. The security camera has never been released and will never be released because a white Hyundai Elantra never entered that neighborhood. You would think, since Kohberger has already been arrested and charged for the murders, that footage would have been released just like the Linda Lane surveillance was. They go hand in hand, right? Which magnifies the point. If there isn't a white Hyundai Elantra spotted entering the neighborhood by the neighbor's security camera, then there isn't a white Hyundai Elantra creeping behind Queen Road Apartments. Jeff H. states that we will know all we need to know when the neighbor's security camera footage is released. It's been almost 2 years since the murders occurred, right? A screenshot of the surveillance was already released, so why not the actual surveillance? It won't be. That's the most devastating visual evidence, right? On both sides of the trial. Either it shows a white Hyundai Elantra entering that neighborhood during the time of the murders, which helps the prosecution nail Kohberger, or it doesn't show a white Hyundai Elantra entering the neighborhood, which helps the defense. Without it being physically there, how does Kohberger's DNA end up on a knife sheath in the home? We keep going in circles with this, but it's a very important circle to keep going in. If it wasn't the landlord, nor law enforcement who so-called leaked it, who would have released surveillance from that apartment complex after an arrest was made? In addition, who did this individual originally give it to, in which it landed on social media, being examined by many in the true crime community? Someone had to be the connecting link in the, well, chain of custody. The TikToker did state that the alleged scammer edited the surveillance for sensationalism and views. But if this person, who is identified as a female, edited the surveillance, are we not to assume that a vehicle was also edited to depict Koberger's white Hyundai Elantra? Then they email YouTubers stating that they have the evidence that Koberger's vehicle was spotted. The YouTubers obtain it and display it to their audience. Some may not claim it's Koberger's vehicle, while others allude to it or title the video as a question if it's Koberger's vehicle or not. The point, the individual who had that surveillance passed it on to someone or a group of individuals in the true crime community. And that would also prove that this alleged female has to have a social media account, perhaps even on YouTube, who has been interacting with the true crime community involving this case. But in secret, though. This is why you have to keep an eye on individuals in the true crime community, because some people have agendas, you know. So the chaos keeping an eye on the likes of the clown, Get a Clue, JLR, and a few more is all relative to the investigation. It is not, I repeat, it is not a waste of time or some YouTube drama. It is about cutting the grass and revealing potential snakes in the case. Because damage control is the equivalent to obstruction of justice for those housemates. As the saying goes, when there's mystery, there's secrecy. And when there's secrecy, there's a conspiracy. Whenever something is mysterious, meaning there isn't a clear-cut answer or even general explanation given, it's rooted in secrets. And secrets means something is being withheld, and that usually means a conspiracy is at the root of the mystery. That's why you don't get involved in the emailing party, because that by default is rooted in secrecy. Investigate, draw conclusions from what's in front of you, and if someone attempts to email you about something, reject it. Speaking of that, recently many have been, I guess, hacked or threatened via email. We warned everyone prior about emailing. If they are emailing you about information or evidence in the case, then they should be anonymously informing law enforcement about it. It's getting revealed either way, right? So never trust someone who states they have something to share with you via email, because it's usually a bunch of garbage. And the biggest problem is they can track your IP address through your email. You're covering a murder investigation. Please be mindful of the severity of what you present to the public. Okay, I think we're all on the same page now. Which brings us back to that wacky claim prior that Koberger broke into a friend's apartment. We broke this down from Dateline NBC's report and News Nation echoed, but for some reason, they have recently reported on it once again. Ashley Banfield talks about this so-called incident again. Let's listen.
There is also this from outside the realm of the hearings and the motions. It involves Brian Koberger well before November 13th, 2022, before that quadruple murder happened, and specifically his interactions with a woman who believes that Koberger was spying on her electronically in her own home. You may have heard about this story a few months ago. The woman, fellow student and an acquaintance of Brian Koberger at Washington State University, told the police that she thought Koberger was watching her on her home surveillance cameras.
We heard of the story prior, but it was never stated she claimed it was Koberger who was spying on her. It was never confirmed. Dateline NBC claimed a source identified Koberger as the intruder. It was never stated that the friend identified Koberger as the intruder. It's nonsense altogether, but here's we go again. If Ashley is claiming that the female actually claimed Koberger was spying on her, and the so-called source identified Koberger as the intruder, then why wasn't he charged with a crime? Why didn't this friend notify the police at that time? Dateline NBC claimed that the friend didn't call the cops about the home invasion. So if she never called the cops, yet the source identified Koberger as the intruder, where is the damn arrest? But let's continue with this madness.
That she had asked him to help install for her safety. The irony. What had happened was her home was broken into, things were moved around, nothing was taken, but she thought it was weird. Not weird enough to call the police, but weird enough to call her friend Brian Koberger and ask for help. All of that was just a couple of months before Brian Koberger is accused of murdering those four.
Nope. Keep going, Miss Ashley. Continue breaking it all down. Don't leave out the key points. Her home was broken into. She didn't call the cops about it, rather notified her friend, yes, her friend, being Koberger, and he suggested she install a security system. Then the so-called source claimed that Koberger installed the security system so he could spy on her. The source claims it was Koberger who had broken into her apartment and had been spotted by the very security system he installed. Now, the initial report doesn't clarify who spotted Koberger in the home by the camera. They allude to it being the friend. But they made a point to claim the source, yes, the source, identified Koberger as the home intruder. Now, if he was identified by the source, this means the friend had to call the cops for someone to go in and review her security system to spot Koberger in surveillance. Yet once again, he was never arrested and charged with home invasion. Absolutely nothing. Monumentally retarded. But there's more, because apparently this friend has recently spoken out about it. Oh, really? Let's hear what she had to say.
4 young people in their off-campus home near the University of Idaho. And tonight we are hearing from a trusted source inside one of the victims' families that the woman who believes Koberger spied on her.
You know what? I'm done. This is outrageous.
Wow, it's even more ridiculous than when they first reported on it. So here we are, thinking they will be reporting on what the friend actually stated from the horse's mouth, even perhaps an interview. But no, they're claiming a source from one of the victims' families are addressing an incident that had nothing to do with them. Why would they be addressing that incident? They have no connection to it whatsoever, but we know why the fake incident was even presented the first time around to justify the stalking narrative with those very victims. See? The prosecution is literally losing their minds, trying to find any and everything to work, yet they still haven't released any damn surveillance that proved Koberger was physically there. We're still waiting on that, you fucks. But you can go back to an alleged incident prior to the murders, show the goddamn surveillance, and you could put everything to rest, right? If he was there, then he's at least guilty of being involved in the murders, if not the killer. The longer you hide that so-called evidence and surveillance, the more the public will start to doubt that he was even there. And the public's opinion, including investigators on YouTube, even professional investigators, and those in the true crime community, can have an impact on the jury. The jury would wonder, where is the surveillance that they claim to have of Koberger driving in the neighborhood? That's why individuals like Gray Hughes was pulled to court TV attempting to prove that Koberger was there. And even get a clue, tracing an outline of a Hyundai Elantra, all can be used to suggest, at least in that surveillance, his vehicle was spotted. Because that's the only surveillance that they could edit, giving the visual appearance of a white Hyundai Elantra. The neighbor's camera, you wouldn't be able to edit that due to it being wide open, as the view of the vehicle is not obstructed. There are video editors who work for the other side. We'll leave it at that.
Is not happy that her interaction with the mass murder suspect is not part of his prosecution. In fact, we're told that nobody in her local police department has even pursued her claims or shares her fear that her personal private images, maybe nudes, possibly could have been leaked by Brian Koberger. Maybe they're out there somewhere.
Okay, so now they added something new to the fake crap. Keep in mind, this is coming from a source of one of the victims' families, speaking on what the female is claiming, not what she has told News Nation. What the hell is this? So she's in fear that nude photos of her will be leaked out to cyberspace, but she wasn't in fear that her home was broken into to call the cops. And even when she apparently found out it was her friend who had broken in and was snooping around after he installed the security camera, she wasn't in fear of Koberger to call the cops about it. Oh, please don't let those nudes get out there. My life would be ruined. From who? Koberger? So he would dump nude photos of you onto the internet. Why? If he was so-called stalking you, in that setting, he would just sexually assault you and get what he wanted, based on that creeper narrative they're trying to paint. Leaking nudes of a friend wouldn't be on the creeper's mind. They are intending on sexually assaulting you. And they have access into your home. They're going to attempt to do it, which obviously would have led to Koberger being arrested for that as well. We see the play, though. This is all fabricated from the prosecution, trying so hard to manufacture a sexual deviant in Koberger. He may be a bit quirky, but there's no evidence that he was a sexual deviant. If he was, then his alleged targets would have shown signs of sexual assault. Oh, I guess he didn't have much time to do that. house full of college students, he brazenly just entered without caution. I'm not able to finish, but I'll try. This is astonishing.
There is some concern that those images would not only be a violation of her privacy, but possibly relevant to the quadruple murder case against Brian Koberger. And that is where I turn to Gigi McKelvey. She is the host of Pretty Lies and Alibis, true crime podcast, one of the best in the business. Trust me on that.
Oh, there's another so-called true crime investigator being interviewed by mainstream media. Why are they all of a sudden being interviewed? If I'm not mistaken, the mainstream media was just condemning the true crime community, the web sleuths, about their theories regarding the case. Now, though, they're embracing the true crime community so much that they're inviting them to be guests on their shows. You know what's coming. Say it with the chaos. Come on. Wait for it. This is nothing but damage control. You know why these individuals are coming out, right? It's because the public has come to the consensus that Koberger was framed. So the mainstream media has to attempt more damage control by having individuals depicted as true crime investigators aligning with their propaganda. And everyone wonders why we call out individuals in the true crime community.
Gigi, what do you make of this? That the police did not pursue, as this woman apparently is claiming, the severity of her allegations that Brian Koberger was spying on her.
Yeah, it's shocking, really, because you think about it. Brian Koberger started Washington State University in the fall of 2022. So it would show that when he arrived in Washington State, he didn't take long before he started stalking people, which we believe is what happened, with the Idaho 4.
Who the fuck is we? What we are you referring to? Oh, let me guess, you're speaking of the true crime community. You see, that's what happens if you don't call out these fucking DC agents within the true crime community. How dare she say we believe that's what Koberger did with the Idaho 4? She is well aware of the inconsistencies, the flat-out slander that the fucking news station she is on has pushed. And if you are a so-called true crime investigator, even a true crime commentator, you would know there is no real proof that Koberger was guilty of those murders. We broke this dumpster garbage filth down already. Dateline NBC claimed there was a source that had identified Koberger as the home invader. Question: who identified him as the home invader? Was it the friend? Okay, but how did the source find out about this if the friend never called the authorities? Who the fuck is the source? Let me guess. Mark Furman, running around in Idaho, staying anonymous as the so-called source of all this shit. Remember, he was involved in this case as a so-called private investigator and also resides in Idaho. Wow, what a fucking coincidence. Pullman PD would have been notified, and somehow after Koberger was identified as the home invader, he was never charged with any crimes. Oh, okay, nothing to see here. Just a potential man lurking in his female friend's apartment. Maybe he would sexually assault her, or even murder her. Oh, that's no problem. No need to arrest him for anything. It's fine. A home invasion could carry a felony charge. My friends, we wouldn't even know who he was if this incident ever happened, because he would have been behind bars during the time frame the murders occurred. And this so-called true crime individual knows all about that report and is disregarding the absurdity of it just to have her voice heard and acknowledged as a true crime personality. It's a disgrace to what the phrase true crime stands for. It's about the truth. You investigate to discover the truth. And anyone who would hear that so-called incident for the first time would say to themselves, wait a minute, this isn't making sense. Koberger would have been arrested for sure. And that's not even the main problem regarding the case. The fucking case itself would have raised so many questions in that person's mind. But yet, to make a quick dollar, like we mentioned before, these individuals would jump ship faster than the Thai fucking Titanic. You're discussing an incident where Koberger would have been arrested, and yet, because she's such a fucking, this is why we expose everything and everyone. You can't let snakes slither around in the grass in the true crime community. This is exactly what happens. You have to prevent them from obstructing justice. Yes, this is damage control, which is obstruction of justice. So you see, all of those people claiming we're wasting time with so-called drama with others, you see now? It's not drama. It's exposing the fucking traitors who protect the truth. They are working with law enforcement, the FBI, the prosecution, the city of Moscow, Pullman, Washington, the drug cartels. None of these people can be trusted.
At the King Road residence, I mean, he was riding by there and things. But here's the thing. The fact that they're not even investigating this would be easy to prove through electronics if he was connecting to her password and looking at those cameras. That would be something I think beneficial for the prosecution to have on their side to just show his character, to this jury eventually when it goes to trial.
So let me attempt to rationalize the derp tardation. The authorities didn't do any of that investigating prior to the Idaho murders, although he was fucking identified as the home invader. Oh, but now the prosecution will look into it. Oh, okay, I get it. It wasn't that important when it happened, but now that he's been arrested and charged for murders, now all of that needs to be investigated by a team that had nothing to do with that incident, while apparently law enforcement in Pullman PD just, well, I guess let Koberger get away with the crimes. Yeah, I get it. That's it. And she knows it doesn't make sense, yet just ignores the fuckery on live television just to be glorified as a true crime community member. Gray Hughes jumped out there, pushing the narrative Koberger was driving all around. He's slicker, though. He will never question any of this fuckery reported. He's all about video footage, as that's what he specializes in, that being editing the shit. All of these true crime impersonators are the ones being interviewed. And you have to think about this. The news stations are not contacting them. They are contacting the news stations. You see now? You see the damage control in full fucking effect? She knows very well Koberger has been framed. It's evident. And instead of using the mainstream media's platform to be a voice of reason and common sense, she would rather go on to get along. Yeah. The opposition cares two fucks about you or anyone else. Many people know Koberger was framed, but they don't want to say it outright due to the severity of that outcome. We understand some are not willing to put their channel's reputation on the line to make that claim to their audience. But this so-called true crime individual is pushing the same narrative that the main, how a so-called source is the one speaking for the friend instead of the goddamn friend. There they go again, just making shit up on the fly, right in your fucking face. Who is this source? I'm gonna bet it's Mark Furman. I'm also gonna bet he was the so-called private investigator for the Gonzalez family. After all, Banfield says a source close to one of the victims' family made those claims. Yep, sounds about right. And what about this friend? Could this be the Asian friend that Koberger had? We haven't heard anything, and I mean anything from her. We've heard from so-called high school friends and other fake friends he had. But this Asian female was allegedly spotted with Koberger sometime before those murders. She wants nothing to do with this case, especially after being basically used as the friend in a fake incident. To all true crime individuals, be a rebel. Shake things up in the interview, make Banfield nervous, make her stutter a bit. The power of
Yeah, and I brought to light here just recently about that Asian girl and which one it could be, because there's two different pictures there. And it is very strange that she has not spoken out at all. And the neighbor has seen her and Brian together laughing and giggling and having a good time. A few different times he had seen her with him. So, this whole incel bullshit needs to fucking go, because I hope that isn't what they're going to go with like in trial, because they're going to lose. They'll lose that argument. I just don't, I don't see them having much. I'm going to Pia is on, and I feel bad. I don't want to take away from her at all. So there is some left of that Chaos Sector video. And the link, I think I got the link to, hold on. All the other one's gone. I do have the link to the one I started out with on the fights. That's down in the description. And the Chaos Sector, you can, of course, it should be in the links. And let me see if I got that in here. I'm going to share that one more time. If I can get this. Yeah, and there's the link to Chaos Sector, and I thank them for allowing, for I'm using their video. I am sending everybody, please like this video. I'm hearing that the likes aren't matching how many people are in here. I'd appreciate some likes, and if you haven't subbed to this channel, you'll never regret subbing to this channel, man, because the chat is very awesome. It's known as the best chat in YouTube. I've heard that by many, many, many people. And, there's always something exciting going on here. So anyway, that's it for tonight. Pia is live, I do believe. I'm going to go leave with an 8-minute outro, though. And it's an awesome song. And let's bring this world together. That's my philosophy. We are all one people. Doesn't matter what race, what religion, what anything. If you're a human being, you're a human being. And this song kind of states that. And I like it. So anyway, until next time, everybody. I love you all, my crime family. You're my heart, my mods. You are my soul. Until next time, rock and roll.